Night with Tarot Delights.
Yes.
I'm Rhonda and you are?
I'm Kayla.
And we're talking to you between two candlestick holders.
I love it. It's like, they're really pretty too.
Aren't they nice?
Yeah, they're really gorgeous.
Yeah.
Reminds me, my grandmother always had, when we had really fancy dinners, she had her good candlesticks out.
Right. That used to be a wedding present you'd get.
Yeah.
A set of candlesticks, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day. My mom hated eating by candlelight. I remember her bitching that it's too low in light.
Well, I can kind of see it because we do that at Christmas time with my in-laws.
Okay.
And like, it doesn't bother me because I always like staring into the flame.
Okay.
So I'm like, whatever. But like, I can see where it's too low light.
Right, yeah. You can't really see your food very well. And as I'm getting older, I understand that. It's like, yep, I want to see my food. Oh, goodness. But you and I both had birthdays recently.
Yes, we did.
So happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And we have a grand plan for next year for all our birthday gifts.
Yes, we do. I think that's a great idea. And because I know people have done that. So basically, you find everything you can get for free and then tour around your birthday and go find it.
Yeah. And you do it with a birthday twin.
Yeah.
And you're close enough, you're practically a birthday twin.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. So tonight we were going to talk about Beltane a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And tarot. You have your fairy deck.
I do. I have a new to me. I've hemmed and hawed on this deck forever. It's the Mythic Fairy?
The
Mystic Fairy.
Yeah.
Yep. The Mystic Guide to the Mystic Fairy Tarot. And
big book, too.
it is. She's chunky and she's amazing. Mm-hmm. And it was done by Barbara Moore, and I want to give credit to the illustrator, but the name is escaping me. I'm so sorry. Try the back of the book, Kayla.
I'm sure it'll be there.
It'll be there eventually. I'll find it later.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big fairy person, but there's something about these quirky little
cards,
quirky little family cards, fairy cards.
Nice.
They were super cute, and it's been on my wish list forever, and I finally was like, why not?
Very cool, very cool. And May is the month of fairies. That's when they sort of come out of hibernation and come back into our world if they want to be here, of course.
Yep.
And they always say leave a little wild corner of your garden so that the fairies can enjoy it because they don't like too manicured.
Josh and I do no mow May.
Okay.
So we
like that.
We let our pollinators kind of graze and make sure there's other flowers for them to eat before we mow everything for the first time.
Yeah, that's always good to do to keep the bees and the fairies and all that in good working order. You know, because they've just gone through a long winter and we're just chopping down their food supply, basically. And there's some queen bees that, hide in the leaves and stuff.
Yeah, until they figure out where the...
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, I don't like the idea of raking up the leaves either. Mm-hmm. And leaf blowers are one of the worst things you can do.
Oh.
Yeah, not just for the bees and the insects and whatnot, but when you have a leaf blower blowing the leaves away, you're also blowing up every piece of feces and you're putting it in the air so that we can all breathe it.
Good to know.
So anybody that uses a leaf blower should at least wearing a mask.
Yep.
But know that you're blowing shit into the air for your neighbors and all the children around to breathe.
Glad I don't own a leaf blower.
Yeah.
Kind of glad.
Let's just take nature as it comes.
Yep.
We don't need to have manicured lawns. We're not, the...
Stepford situation?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, Stepford Wives. That's what it is.
Stepford Wives.
Which one is it?
Or, we're not the Castle of Versailles. So, it's we don't need to be doing, take a break. Just enjoy the grass for what it is. And
well, I know my grandparents recently sold their house, so their lawn is pretty manicured, and even out back is perfect. But the last time, so Bosco has visited, but when he was a puppy, he was like, "Oh, dirt, I wanna," and my grandmother almost hit the roof. And I'm like, and he's a couple of years older, so we weren't sure, but he actually did okay.
Okay,
yep.
Okay.
He went and sniffed by a bush, and then was like, "Okay, they're flowers," and then left them alone.
Yeah, my Great Pyrenees would always dig a big hole at our farm and plop himself down into it.
Oh my god, I love it.
And then I'm on a lot of groups on Facebook,
Yep.
and they're always putting up pictures of their Great Pyrenees who had dug a big Great Pyrenees hole.
And they're like, well, I mean, I can imagine they're are they a double coat dog?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so like Bosco.
So never shave a Great Pyrenees.
Yep. same with Corgi. They
Yeah.
also have a double coat.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But him and Josh are very much like, can we have the air conditioning on 24/7?
Yeah.
Like, what is this heat you speak of? Like, where's the snow? So he's constantly like, it's too hot, Mom.
Right. They got those double coat pants on.
Yep.
The corgis.
And it looks like pants from the bottom. Oh my God. Sorry, just a little wiggle bottom from the back. It's adorable.
Yeah, we have a new corgi in our building.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, someone just bought one. I think her dog was a lot older and had
Yep.
just passed, so she's
Yep.
just got a new corgi because I would notice a corgi right away.
Oh, you have to let me know where they got them from.
Oh, okay.
Because
okay,
I
I'll
know
ask.
there is a breeder in Battersea,
Oh, okay.
somewhere around there.
Oh, okay. Ah,
Yeah.
Is that where you got?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. So we're talking about Beltane because it's coming up in a couple of days. Now there's Beltane Eve and then there's Beltane, right? And Beltane goes way, 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 way back. It's a fire festival, first of all. So wands are the cards that are the fire.
Ooh, yes, they are.
Yeah. For
So-
the traditional tarot.
So what do you want to manifest? What has been your hobby that you're like, I don't pay enough attention to it and I want to do more of X?
Yeah. And because it's a fire festival, it's sort of like, what's your passion? What do you want to change? And wands often speak to career, not job. Job's different from career. Or health as well. It can,
Well, that's interesting
health.
that they can speak to health as well. Mm-hmm. I know people are a bit leery. I personally am a bit leery about giving medical-ish or related meeting.
I mean, people will ask me about health, like, what do you want to look at? I want to look at love. I want to look at finances. I want to look at health. And then I always jokingly but seriously say, I must preface this reading with,
Yeah.
I am not a doctor.
Please do not take do not stop taking anything your doctor has told you to
Yeah,
take.
yeah, because I know a lot of readers won't do health and they won't do fertility and stuff like that.
Well, that's fair. That's a very touchy subject.
It
for a lot of
is, but
people
also too, like, you don't want to become the scapegoat if they make decisions.
that are not.
Like, consult a medical professional. It's sort of like if you wanted some legal advice too. I'd have to say I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah.
But
Don't.
go to a lawyer. Like.
Can you imagine?
I have had some moms come to me.
Yeah.
And wanting to know what the results of a court case are going to be, because
Okay, that's fair. Like,
their
'cause
children are in trouble.
Your children are in trouble, or you're dealing with maybe some family issues, custody
And that
issues.
I always tell moms can get very convoluted,
Mm-hmm.
because normally your children, if they're in legal trouble, they're usually grown up or
They can make their own decisions.
yeah, and I get why as a mom that's a worry, of course, and some of them are pretty serious worries, but at the same time I often tell them it's going to be very convoluted. One, because you're the mom, not the person going through the legal thing. So it's kind of your kid's reading, not your reading.
Yep.
So that can get murky. And also, two, I'm not a lawyer.
Yes. They go to school for a very long time
Yeah, exactly.
to know things that we don't.
And they take big, long tests and write big, long essays.
Yep.
And
And
if
then
you've
speak
ever-
big long essays.
Because if you've ever paid a lawyer, you're paying them by the word. So it can get expensive.
I've watched people pay lawyers. I
Yeah.
have not had the.
If
experience
I
myself.
get paid by the word for my tarot readings, that would be amazing.
Oh my God, you'd be raking it in.
No, right?
You're like a master wordsmith craft going on. Like, that would be. I wonder if people would even pay that, because like, if you talk
Yeah.
for an hour,
Yeah.
you'd have to. It would almost be like typing. You would have to figure out how many words per
I'd
minute.
have to have one of those court people.
Stenographer.
Stenographer.
Okay, apparently we're going adjacent onto court shows.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like Judge Judy. I'd have you on this side looking up facts.
Yep.
And then I'd have a stenographer on the other side.
Yes.
That's our new Judy Justice show.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Justice Rhonda with tarot and
I determine the sentence by the tarot.
Yeah. Come before her if you dare.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the cards are unforgiving.
Oh my goodness. That'd be hilarious. That'd be an awesome reality show though.
We should do a skit.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And just be like, and obviously, right, like this is a skit.
Yes.
And then maybe do like a mini dramatization of what
it
tarot,
would
tarot court by tarot would look like.
Court by tarot, yes. Decisions by tarot. Life decisions, whatever it might be, right? But yeah, so Beltane, Fire Festival.
I like the idea of fire. Mind you, fire is one of those like, don't try to control it, but at the same time, be very careful.
Respect it.
Respect it.
Because it becomes a living thing.
Entity, yep.
Yep, exactly. And there's a lot, like the bonfires are big at Beltane and at summer solstice, both.
Yep.
If you read a lot about old summer solstice things, it sounds a lot like Beltane, but we need that repetition. Right, as humans, because in Beltane we do the bonfires, and a lot of times you would do what's called jumping the fire, knowing that you're jumping into a new era. And this is when the goddess is she's losing her virginity, so she's coming out of her maidenhood, and she's sleeping with somebody, because it used to be a thing where you'd go out in the woods and
Yes. Didn't they call that? Is that not? That would be Beltane, not Ostera.
yeah, that's Beltane.
Okay.
Yeah, not austere. No.
Sorry, I'm mixing up because
Ostera,
it was badly represented in what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
The TV show I'm thinking of. So let's not go there.
Okay. Yeah, and then so she's pregnant by the time summer solstice comes along.
Nice.
She's just newly pregnant. She's not like big pregnant, right? But yeah. So this is and she's sleeping with her own son. Like it gets a little incestuous after a while.
Doesn't all of it get incestuous though?
Oh,
If you
yeah.
really want to, because like I was reading,
You go into any mythology, even Greek and Roman mythology.
especially Greek and Roman
Yeah,
mythology.
they
Oh my
the gods
gosh.
and goddesses,
Yeah.
they were, I'm your father and your husband.
And maybe your cousin, depending on what myth you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I was reading. What was I reading this morning? It was the Wheel of Life, and we were talking about the
Good series. I like that series.
no, not Wheel of Time.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Wheel of Life.
Wheel of
Oh,
Life.
Sorry.
Hang on, now I gotta find it.
Yeah.
Wheel of Time is a great series, by the way.
Yeah, it is. Although for me, it got a little long after a while.
Oh, good lord.
It's like every book is like this thick.
Yep.
And there's like 12 of them or something.
Oh, I actually when I read it growing up, I never got past book 9.
Okay, I think I got to book 9 because it got to the point where it was always a Christmas present for me.
Yep.
And it was like, oh my God, they've come out with another, because every year they came out with another one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like, okay, I know I'm getting the next book. I'm not sure I'm in the mood to read it.
Yes, Wheels of Life.
Wheels of Life. Oh, okay. So what is it? It's something you're listening to?
Yeah, it's so it's I have it in a paperback, but I consume most of my books while I clean.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, fair.
So
fair.
I was getting ready for work today, and I was listening to Wheel, and they were talking about the Hindu goddess and god, or
Okay.
the like male and female power, and how they're like embracing forever, basically.
Okay.
And so it made me think of the god and goddess of
Right.
of Beltane.
Of Beltane, yeah, because this is really, because Wicca, witchcraft, paganism, there's a lot of goddess energy, and I love that it's being embraced. I 100% embrace it. Coming from a Roman Catholic background, God was the man, and I sort of shunned him a little. But
Most women do.
yeah. And I'm not Dianic, though. Dianic witches.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other.
They're hardcore. No God.
You know, it would be interesting to
They're like Amazons.
Yep. Yes, they are. It would be really interesting, I think, at some point in the future. We should kind of look at the different, like, arcing. Like, Wicca is a thing, but that's like the organized religion
Yeah.
of pagan.
Yeah.
Maybe I might
Yeah.
be wrong.
Yep, it's
And then
under
there's
the
like
pagan umbrella.
Dianic. There's like
There's a
obviously-
lot of different
Right. Yeah.
witchcraft paths, you know.
And
and they've made up even more in the modern times. Like
Yeah.
there's sea witches and there's
I don't know. I just find it interesting, and then I feel like I don't know enough. So like maybe we could do like a guest spot on somebody. So like someone who's a Dianic witch, you could like come in and we could ask you
Yeah.
questions, and you could tell us
Yeah.
kind of your experience if you feel so comfortable.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, for sure. But this is the one sort of time when he shows up, the Green Man,
Yep.
right? I mean, he shows up for all of them, but really he's kind of left off a lot of the times because it's like we're focused on the goddess, and that's totally cool. So he's in his young man stage. So he's coming from being a young man into a man. The goddess makes him a man, of course, because that's what she does. And then she gets impregnated by him to give birth to him later in the year. Which, I know, it sounds weird.
So she doesn't have a daughter, she has a son.
But it's no weirder than the Virgin Mary becoming pregnant without the help of anybody.
Yep. It doesn't have to make sense, it just has to progress the story along.
Yes. And the Virgin Mary is an old story, past even the Virgin Mary kind of thing. But yeah, so, you know, it's an old story. And funnily enough, she gives birth to a son as well, because that's what the goddess does. See, goddess is hiding in a lot of places that we don't
Realize.
yeah, exactly. But this is the rising of the matriarch again. We just have to remember to be kind to ourselves and to our fellow man. And I mean that. Like, man, not let's teach our men and women how to be good humans to each other, you know, so that we can all move on.
And not create a karmatic circle again.
Yeah, exactly.
Because things repeat if we don't learn our lessons.
Absolutely. And we need repetition anyways, but let's not repeat mistakes. Like every time we come around on the merry-go-round, let's, you know, yes, we might make a whole new mistake, but at least it's a new one.
We've learned this mistake, now we fixed this one, now we're over here on this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Turn the merry-go-round again.
And every mistake, it means we're getting closer to enlightenment. As long as we learn the lesson from the mistake.
Yes.
There's always gifts in mistakes, in, you know, what people see as tragic events or whatever. There's always a gift in them. Always ask, what is the gift? If you're in your darkest moment, if you're in your saddest moment, if you're in your most angry moment, ask, what is the gift?
It's unfortunate that we have to go through it, but I feel like it's not a necessity necessarily, but you're right. There is a lesson or something you can learn from whatever situation you're going through.
Yeah. Because remember as kids when your mom would say, clean your room, and we'd be so upset because, oh my God, I don't want to clean my room. It's so sad. Not fair. World is not fair to me, blah, blah, blah. But then we'd clean our room, and we often got a treat, right? Because it was usually, if you clean your room, we'll do this. We'll go to the movies, or we'll go to the park, or whatever. So you'd clean your room, begrudgingly.
Yep. 100%.
with a lot of prodding. But then when it was clean, we'd be like, oh, my room is so nice.
And I get to play now.
And now I get to go to the park or the movies or
Yeah.
whatever, get my little treat. So, you know, like, yes, we had to go through the bad stuff, but look at what we got at the end, right? Most of us as adults, we're the ones going, life's not fair. I don't want to clean my room.
Oh my God, I did that today. If you just finish this one worksheet, you can do whatever you want within reason. Like, don't leave the classroom, but like, read a book, draw. I don't care.
Yeah. Yes.
One worksheet.
One worksheet.
Didn't even involve writing. It was, see this French word? Find it and color it a color. That was it.
That's hilarious.
But if they don't see it, right? Like if you don't, and I've done this too, like, or Josh has said this, that if I don't think it's my idea, like if Josh tells me one thing and it's the best way to do things, because he's very logical, like he's like, oh, this will be your best bet, as far as energy and time. And I'll be like, no, I'm over here. Like, this is fine. I'm doing this. And he's like, no. If you turn left, it'll get you there faster. Say, for example, if we're driving.
Right.
I'm like, no, I'll go right. I'll go right, but then realize he was right, like, 2 years later. And be like, oh, I should have went left. You know, like, why do we waste so much effort?
Yeah, and sometimes we resist just to resist.
Oh, 100%.
You know, and yeah, I mean, yeah, we're not bright creatures, and what worked on us when we're 5 will work on us when we're 55.
It's true. It is 100% true.
So if you talk to yourself like you're a 5-year-old, first of all, you'll be kinder and gentler to yourself. And second of all, you'll learn that all those old tricks your parents used to get you to do stuff,
They still work.
they still work on yourself.
Because if you bribe me, I will do things.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be money
And you can bribe yourself.
all the time.
Give yourself permission to do A, B, or C after you do D.
Yeah, no, we're still at school. We're still learning that like first we do A, then we get B.
Right.
We haven't learned that concept yet.
Yes. And that's okay. He's still young and
Oh,
little.
100%. So young
We
and so
should
little.
know that by the time we are adults.
But some people don't. I have days where I'm like, I don't want an adult today, and I just don't. I end up staying in bed and watching movies,
Yeah.
and then I pay for it later because I'm like, oh, I should have done that yesterday.
And then you shoulda yourself.
Yes.
And you have guilt and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah. But again, be gentle with yourself. You know, give yourself permission to not do anything that day.
This is why we should have 3-day work or 3-day weekends. Because
Yes.
then it's like, do your errands, everything you have to do. Then you get a nothing day.
Yep.
And then you get a I need to visit people / catch up /
Yeah.
deliver things day.
Yeah.
Or
Errands and social connections.
or appointments day. Like
Or
if you make
appointments day.
yeah.
Yeah. We do need a 4-day work week. I'm
Yeah.
100% behind that.
Oh, if only.
Yeah. Right. You know, it's like, come on.
Beltane.
Beltane. Okay. So, what do you want to know about Beltane?
I don't know.
What do you think of when you think of Beltane?
Flowers.
Flowers. Okay. Yep. Because fairies are coming out. The flowers are blooming. The lilacs are coming out. I love lilacs.
Fields.
Fields.
Yeah.
Yep. It's the month of mothers
Yep.
and women in general. Even
Maple.
in Middle Ages, they honored women on this month. This
Mm-hmm.
was the month of the Holy Grail because it's the representation of.
Yes, you're right.
Yes.
Is that why it's been eluded for so long? Because the men can't find it because it's a woman?
Yeah, it's kind of like the G spot.
Tee
Yeah. And you know, Mother's Day comes in May.
Yep.
And for the Catholic Church, it's Mary's month.
That makes sense.
And I think her ascension happens in this month too.
Oh,
when
okay.
She gets ascended into heaven
I
to become the Queen of Heaven.
know nothing about the catechisms and or Catholic mythology.
Oh, okay. Because her son just went up not too long ago, a few days ago.
Yeah, so she's like, hey, I'll go too.
Oh, yeah, sure, why not?
Why not? Well, and it is the mother, like the mother figure and the women, just with Easter being and kind of Catholicism takes over the world for a couple of days, and you get to learn things depending on how what you're watching, depending on how fact based it is and how
Right.
research based it is, and because when Jesus did ascend, like it was Mary Magdalene and. Was
Yeah.
it Mother Mary at the tomb as well?
Well, Mother Mary was at the cross, but because all the men ran and hid,
Yeah.
and the women were at the cross while he was being crucified. And then it was 2 women. I know Mary Magdalene was one. I don't think it was his mother, but
Okay.
don't quote me on that.
I have no idea.
Who
so I'm
first saw him when he rose, because they then went back to the men who were still in hiding.
not been like, hey, like,
That's where doubting Thomas comes from.
Yep.
Because he said, I need to see Jesus, because he didn't believe the women.
and I feel like, but a lot of people are like that. Like I used to be like that. I needed to see what was going on. It
You
had to
were
be.
a doubting Thomas?
I was very much a doubting Thomas.
Okay.
I'm very much
And
skeptical.
they hide, often doubting Thomases hide that behind fact, science, whatever they want to call it, right? And not saying like, yes, science is a thing and it's, good to have your facts straight.
It is good, but it's also interesting because science has morphed, or not morphed, but like progressed, and there's like Reiki research papers
Yeah.
and how it's really kind of come into
More
like
and
the
more of
quantum
the
field.
woo-woo is being proven correct, right? So, I mean, for me, my takeaway from that is have an open mind.
Yep.
Because possibilities are endless in the universe.
So just because we can't do it today doesn't mean it's not possible.
Yeah, exactly. Because, if we went back in time and had a Bic lighter with us, we would be.
Oh, we would be hunted.
No, well, we would be revered or hunted, one or the other.
there's no in between. We would either be like, oh, God level, or oh, we need to get rid of you because
Yeah.
we don't know what you are.
Exactly. How does she produce fire like that? And a ballpoint pen.
Oh my goodness, they'd be like, where's the inkwell?
Yeah, exactly. And look at her write so fast.
Sometimes the kids do that too, because as an adult, for people who have took cursive, or at least part of their education was in cursive, or they were forced to. So now I have an amalgamation of cursive and printing.
I think every adult kind of does
Yeah,
that.
but they did take cursive out for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So there are kids now that don't know how to read it.
Yeah. Yeah.
they're like, what
and
is
they're bringing it back now.
Yeah, because they
Because
realize they need it.
It was really, truly becoming a secret code.
Oh, it reminds me. At one of my jobs, we had like a survey sent out to the people that was like members or whatever, and because they were an older generation than what you worked the desk, they would write in cursive because that's what they were used to, and people would be like, I can't read this. I'm like, anything you can't read, just shove in my mailbox. And the next day I had like 15 to go through.
That's
because
hilarious.
no one could read cursive but me.
Wow. That's a sad state of affairs,
Yeah.
really.
But that's just the way it went. Like, people type, and they type using their fingers now because we have phones, and nobody writes as much as they used to.
No, they don't. And I used to be able to write piles. And now I think partly it's I'm older and I've got arthritis in my hand, but also I'm not used to writing as much because you just don't anymore.
And you type it more. Like, I remember grade 8 science, grade 7 science, one of the more heavier elementary sciences, the overhead projectors.
Oh, yeah.
My science teacher would have his feet up on the desk reading the newspaper because there was 3 overhead projectors and about 5 more of the films already filled out. And he's like, let me know when you need a new one.
Oh, wow.
And that was because he needed us to copy that down in order for him to talk about it. And he knew we wouldn't copy as fast if he was already talking.
Oh, right. So you can't listen and write at the same time.
He knew we would screw it up. So he was like, you're going to copy it all, and then we're going to talk about it next time.
Oh, okay. And it's an easy teaching day
Yep,
for him.
It's an easy teaching day for him. And it's funny because, like, there are days, like today was Monday, and half of my coworkers were like, I don't know if I got it in me Monday today. And I'm like, I get that.
Well, especially since you're coming off a short week last
I
week.
know. And now it's no longer short weeks until like May 2-4.
Oh, wow.
And then after May 2-4, there's like one more PA day at the end of May, and then there's nothing till the end of June.
Oh, wow.
So we're like,
June's going to be a long
We're gonna
month.
die.
Yeah. Because then the kids get antsy and
We're already antsy.
Yeah, know that summer's coming up, right?
That spring fever has hit them hard. No, the kids are great, and 90% of the time are in good moods. They just, Mondays are a bit rough because what they get at home versus what they get at school might be different.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, getting back to Beltane, again.
We should have just called this Other Tangents.
Yeah, other tangents. But there's going to be other tangents, so deal with it. But the thing about Beltane is, to me, it's like a really big new moon type energy.
Ooh.
Because it is the beginning. Like, it's when the goddess first gets pregnant. So that first stirrings of things coming. And it can get very chaotic. And I don't mean chaotic in a bad way. I mean chaotic in a creative energy kind of way.
There's new energy building, and there's ways in which things are going to produce and be created.
Yeah. And even in Canada, we are starting to plant things in May, right? May 2-4 is often the weekend when we bring those plants out, and the gardening centers already being set up. I see that and all that kind of stuff in the grocery stores and whatnot. So it is a time of planting new seeds and having, like, again, Mother Nature knows that we need repetition. She gives us lots of leeway for beginnings, right? We had the new year. Then Imbolc is a bit of a new beginning. Spring, Austera is a new beginning. It's spring, it's fresh. Blah, blah. Now we have Beltane again, because apparently we fall off the wagon many times.
I was gonna say, we just don't know how to learn our lessons. I think that's part of it too, because we just the universe goes, oh, you haven't learned that yet? Let's try again.
Or we need a few runs at it,
Yep.
right? It's like, you can't just do it once. Like with tarot, even, I had to take a couple of runs at it before I felt like, okay, I can do this now, right?
Well, now I'm trying to think, because I actually remember, I have to do this, and like, I started college at this time. I bought my first tarot deck over here and really kind of dabbled, but didn't really play with it. And then like something else happened, and then I started talking to you. So it's like, I had one pass, I had another pass shortly when I started my undergrad, and then really didn't pick it up. And it wasn't until we started talking that I really picked it up. So
Right.
it's like I've had 3 passes at least
Yeah.
until
yeah.
it stuck.
And it's okay, like, because a lot of people, they want to take a tarot class. And first of all, you can't learn it in afternoon, so don't think a one-day class is going to be what teaches you.
I still get surprises of like, oh, cool, I didn't know that was related.
Me too. And it's sort of like at the beginning, I should almost get people to sign a waiver saying, I agree to be a student for life, because that's what you're going to be, is a student for life.
Student for life.
And it's great, though. It's great to be that student and always wanting to learn, you know, and again, that repetition. We can't just do the first step once. Sometimes we have to do it 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Well, it's also like if you want to take it out of tarot, like dance is like this, riding a bike could be like this. You have the same mechanics, but sometimes it doesn't click over until you've tried it 5 to 10 times.
Yeah. If you take up karate, you're repeating the same thing, like
Until-
karate chop,
until it becomes a meditation.
until it becomes a meditation or a muscle memory.
Yep.
Because I know my aunt and a good friend of mine did Taekwondo. Yeah, Taekwondo. And they had to repeat like a movement like over and over and over again, because that's how your body learns and it gets that muscle memory, right? So the same thing applies to our brain, probably applies to our spirit as well, right? And that's very fitting that we have the Fool card out, because he is about taking that very first scary step, right? He's the one that steps off the cliff, trusting that the universe has his back, trusting that, okay, I can learn this. He might fall off the mountain, have to climb back up again and take a step again. And this time the universe will find that step for him, that second step.
Take the risk and trust the fall.
Trust the fall, trust the process, right? Because I happened to Google today, because we were talking about what do we want to talk about, and I typed in what's the most powerful tarot card,
Ooh.
and the Fool came up, which makes sense, because the Fool's the one that takes the risk.
Well, that's that initial like dive into it too. That initial dive into the major arcana, which is that major overarching kind of journey.
Yeah, because
So-
he's the one that interacts with each of the other cards. And he's the one that becomes enlightened. But he's also the one that knows, I need to learn something. And when we know we need to learn something or practice something or whatever it might be, that's where we're our most powerful, because we're our most humble at the same time.
Yep.
And that puts us in a very centered position of strength, right? Because, yeah, it's scary to take the step, but it's, if you know you're going to learn from it, or if you know you're going to gain something from it, whether it's, you know, movement forward in a career or a better relationship or, you know, just knowledge in general, it's, you know, it's
worth it.
It's exciting but scary, right? Like opening a new book is exciting. Right?
But not necessarily scary, because you know you're in the comfort of your own home.
Yeah.
And you can still go places because the book will take you places. But when you're diving into like an endeavor like tarot or like learning a new language, there is that fear initially of like, am I going to be okay in this? Is this going to work out? Da 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 da. And I really feel like, because tarot is like learning a language. Sorry, I'm in a French immersion classroom. I know next to zero French, and I've come a long way in the last like 3 months.
You've been learning.
So yeah, oh yeah. There are days that because I have to write in a couple of the kids' planners. They call them pochettes at the end of the day, and my words have now certain sentences I will scramble English with French,
Oh, okay.
and I'm like, okay, that's new.
So the parents have to know French too.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, you know, and like I said, it's that first step that can be scary but can be exhilarating and fun, you know, and being open-minded and open to new knowledge, because as adults we often
Get closed off from
get
it.
closed
Yeah.
off, get jaded, you know, think, I've learned everything I need to learn. Have you? You know, never.
Or maybe you didn't have a good experience learning as a child, because I work with a lot of kids that absolutely hate school,
Right.
and it breaks my heart, because I'm like, I loved school.
Yeah.
Loved school.
Me too.
So to see them so closed off so young about learning,
Do you think that's a nurture or nature?
I don't know. I think it might be a little bit of a little bit of nature, like innate, like I haven't done well in this, and therefore I am scared to learn more because what if I'm not good at it?
Yeah,
But
we have to encourage it. It's okay to fall down.
yeah, but then some kid, like I've seen kids with anxiety, just like not disorders, but like anxiety responses about getting things wrong. And they're in the little itty bitty grades. They're not in like 6, 7, or 8. And I'm just like,
Right.
what is going on? It's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're
But
not.
I wonder if parents are rubbing off a little bit.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe parents didn't have a good school experience either.
And
so.
sometimes some of them are, like some of them I've heard some stories where so and so's parent didn't have a good school experience and has like told that story where their children can hear it.
Right.
And then the kid's like, oh, well, I don't know if I'm gonna have a good school experience, and then they already have that preconceived notion. But getting the kids to realize that mistakes are okay is harder than I remember. Like,
Right.
I remember it was really hard for me to accept that mistakes were okay because I'm like, why can't I get it?
Yeah.
But I had to work hard at school though, so
Yeah.
I'm-
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because, like the kids that have to work hard at school tend to be better students when they mature.
yes, because they've had to work for it.
Yeah.
But then the kids that
And
have-
they learn that work ethic.
yeah, but then the kids that haven't had to work for it, and then when it gets hard, they're like,
Yeah.
whoa, this isn't okay.
And we have to sort of nurture that mentality of it's okay not to be
Yep.
perfect
Yep.
right away. I mean, yes, eventually you want to
And they
catch
are.
on.
They are. They do a lot of like considering what I remember versus what they're doing now. Like they are trying to say like we read a book today. Sorry, I'm not going to remember the title because it was in French and I was paying attention to my kid and not necessarily the story. But it was basically that message of like it's okay to make mistakes and it's okay that it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. It still looks beautiful. It was like an art project, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And apply that to mathematics, reading, everything. And tarot. And like the best way to overcome your fears is to face them.
Yep.
I just told a client that I can't remember who it was now, that I said when you're faced in life, like when you're racing a car,
Okay.
if there's an accident on the track or whatever, they often tell you to drive through the smoke. Right, just go through it. Like don't stop because you're
Don't
gonna
swerve. Don't because you're gonna hurt. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so if
So
you're
even
all-
though you don't know what's on the other side of that smoke,
Your best to just
your
drive
best
through
to
it.
drive right through it.
It's
that's
scary. Yeah, it's scary.
Ooh, no,
but
thank you.
usually it's your best bet, right?
Yeah.
So I was telling her, apply that to your life because she was scared about doing something.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
said, drive through the smoke. When you hesitate,
Is when you
yeah.
Yep.
So drive through the smoke. And she's like, I'm going to remember that because I try to give little analogies that people will remember.
Well, and I feel like those analogies are tangible, right? So like as much you may not remember an hour of talking and everything that you've said, but if they can pick out certain things and like certain phrases like drive through the smoke, that'll be tangible and real for them, and then they'll take that away and apply that to their life.
Right.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah. So like face your fears, drive through the smoke.
Yep.
And that's the best way. Like even if you've got anxiety, because I get it. I had full blown panic attacks, when I was going through that.
Yep.
And Catherine, of course, she took your course, your degree.
Good old behavioral psych.
Exactly. So she would
Very useful.
very useful. She gave me a lot of coping techniques. She talked me out of my tree a lot of the times, as we called it, and then I learned to self-talk myself out of the tree. It doesn't mean my anxiety doesn't flare up every once in a while because
But at least you've got that toolbox.
I've got the toolbox
of the thing. So like during
So when I'm counseling someone who has a similar type thing through tarot, I know what you're going through because I've been there, right? Because it's great to read about it in books and stuff.
but there's nothing like actually feeling what's going on.
Yeah.
And I would never assume, because I usually say like I felt something similar or that sounds familiar, because the worst thing you can do is not assume that you know where they've been, because like yours, you've actually been there.
Yeah.
But there's some situations where I can't say that.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't if I haven't been there. Like,
Yeah.
I know in counseling they tell you don't tell the patient that you've felt it too. But sometimes I feel that is the way to go, so that person knows they're not alone.
And I find it really interesting that your brain does trick you because just from being in the like spirals that I've been in, your brain does trick you and it goes, ha, you're alone and no one knows what you've been through. So you're all alone and you're all isolated in your own head because you're actually not. You have a great support system around you in most cases. But like your brain easily tricks you.
Oh, 100%. When I would get into my full-blown panic attacks, I truly believed in that moment my house was on fire and burning to the ground. And nobody can convince me otherwise, or it was very difficult, especially at the beginning. And I was like, what? I lost two jobs over it because I would turn around on my way to work and go home. Everything would be fine. I would double check everything and stuff like that. But then I would be so, that I'd call and say I can't make it. And, after a while they're like, okay, you're just not coming in anymore.
Well, and that's it, because it's like you have to be, I was talking to a friend of mine about this. She works at a different place, but the expectations are sometimes fluid. And if you haven't worked in a job where the expectations are fluid, it can really jar with you.
Oh, okay.
And so she's like, I don't understand. I'm supposed to be in column A and I'm in column B, and they told me to go to column B, but I should be in column A. And like, she just had like I was like, okay, talk it out. Like, I'm fine. I'm a safe person to talk to.
Yeah.
Be careful who you talk to.
Yeah. Make sure you've got a well established support person that, and it doesn't have to be related to you necessarily, and someone who is going to compassionately listen and not place judgment on, because a lot of people want to give you advice and they're not actively listening. They're actively thinking about what they want to say to you,
which is interesting because I used to do that.
Oh yeah,
until
I've been there.
Until I hit B-Psych, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not actually listening.
Yeah.
I'm listening to react.
Yeah.
And then you realize it's a different set of skills.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, and it just totally blew my mind. So
that's a skill I very much try to hone with my tarot readings, because you'd be amazed at what people will tell you. And like you develop a relationship with this person very quickly, because they're letting you in to some of the most intimate secrets that they have.
Yeah.
Stuff they maybe not told anybody.
Because they don't feel like they've had someone that they could trust or
that's not going to judge them and think you're insane.
Well, and it's, yeah.
And I totally, like, my tarot table is a safe space. There's no judgment. It doesn't mean I won't offer some other solutions. Like, okay, so this is the way you're seeing it. What if you looked that way or looked that way, And I'm not saying you should look this way or that way. I'm saying, what if?
Yeah. And just to get your brain used to thinking in other ways. Because if your thinking is very rigid.
And I've met some rigid people, trust me.
One of my kiddos is really rigid, and even trying to suggest other ways of thinking is very not appreciated.
Yeah,
right
and
now.
there's people that will sit down at the tarot table and they come for advice, but they don't want it.
Yep. I've had a few of those.
And I'll be like the what ifs or whatever, right? Like, well, here's this, a thing that the cards are saying, and they'll be like, no, and I'll be like, I'm always try to be very gentle, and I never try to push. I might nudge occasionally.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think you read your clients. I was like, you so push because you've pushed me, but like, I'm the person that she can push. She knows.
I know when
that
I can
she
push.
can push me because that's the only way I'll get things done. Where other people, like, if she sees that they're not in that space, in that headspace of like, okay, we'll see about this.
Yeah.
Not to push.
That's true. Yeah, valid, very valid.
You push.
Yes, you're right. Absolutely,
In a
I do.
healthy
I do
way.
try to preface it with tough love coming here.
But it's always in a very balanced and giving way, though. Like, it's not like a, how dare you? It's a, oh yeah, I should be thinking that way, shouldn't I? Yeah.
But like, there are, like, I had a couple last week that were very much like, here's the way I see it, and they they came for advice or change or whatever, but they don't want to change.
Oh, that's hard.
And
Because
it's
it's like
like-
you see where things could get better.
Yeah.
But they're not seeing it, and they're like, "Oh, things are fine." It's like, no,
Yeah.
no, they're not.
Yeah. Oh, I would never do that. Oh, I would never do this either. And it's like, okay, well, I brought you to the well.
Yeah,
I
you
can't make
them
you drink.
Yep. I love
And-
that analogy.
But you, as a tarot reader, you really have to
Let go.
let go and be humble enough to know, okay, I've done what I can. You're not in a place where you're ready to take the drink.
Yep.
And that's okay.
Yep.
Because that's totally your decision.
But sometimes it takes a few times. So like,
Yeah. That's the whole point. Jumping off that cliff.
and coming back up and trying again.
Because we love the devil we know.
Yep.
You know, I'd rather live in my misery because I'm comfortable and I'm familiar with it than I would to change and live a happy, lovely, blissful life.
Which is interesting.
Because most people don't pick the blissful life.
They pick the hard one.
They pick the hard one.
And you're like, wow, you could have had so much. Because the universe just wants to give you stuff.
Exactly. The universe is like, here. And you're like, never. I don't want it.
You're like, no. Or I always, a lot of people share the two people digging. And then it's the one that's going to keep going. And so like the person's digging and what they're reaching for is like way far off and they're still going.
Right.
And then there's the guy that like gives up and his thing is like, so like he's digging here and his thing is right here. And
Yeah.
he gives up and turns and goes home.
Yeah. One
And
more
you're like-
shovel. And
yeah,
you would've
one more
been
shovelful, you would have hit it. So I always think of that when I feel like, not when I've had a bad day at work, but just when I'm like, when things are just not going okay, I'm like, okay,
Right.
I need to take a step back, but not in a like indefinite step back, just in like a regroup and keep going.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes you have to sit with some things, but
Yeah.
most of the time you're in this space for a reason. And you're on this path for a reason. And the universe has a way of redirecting you if need be, unless you're really, really stubborn. And you're just
Well, and I mean, the universe has a way of, because like
then it'll just hit you upside the head.
It does. And if you really aren't in the space you're not supposed, if you're not in the space you're supposed to be, the universe has a way of showing you. And sometimes it's not kind.
Yeah, yeah. The universe can be,
Very
the
blunt.
angry mom
Yeah,
too.
very blunt. I remember I was working a job and I liked the job. There were aspects of the job I didn't like, but it was definitely not where I was supposed to be. And the universe was like, oh, you haven't left yet? Okay, I'm going to make you leave.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And that's about as kind as I can put it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The universe has both kicked us in the butt.
A little bit.
Hard.
But we've learned.
We learned. Yes.
And we're still learning.
Of
'cause,
course.
Student of life.
Yep, yep. Never stop learning. Always be open.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And Beltane is about that restart. It's about our 4th or 5th start of the year. Because Mother Nature knows.
Restart. Try again.
Try again. And we're planting the seeds that we're going to harvest in the fall.
Yes.
It doesn't mean this fall. Like if it's a lifelong project, it's like,
Yeah, if
I
you're-
planted the seeds in May. Where's my reward?
Can you imagine? If only life were that easy.
Yeah, right. And then we get a restart every month with the new moon.
Yep.
But I always warn people when they come to the new moon circle, I'm like, just because we're planting the seeds doesn't mean in 2 weeks we're going to get what we want.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes things can go fast and 2 weeks turn out and you're like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But most times it's a season, it's a year. It's down
A
the
decade.
road. Yep.
Yeah. Because really, even if we live to be 100, that's still just a blip in the bucket as far as timeline and universe is concerned.
In lifetimes
And lifetimes,
chromatic
yeah.
circles and
Yeah, exactly. You lived 100 years. What'd you do with it? I ate peanut butter sandwiches.
worked my butt off in a job that
Yeah.
may or may not have been.
Kept a roof over my head.
I'm very lucky, I can now say, because I haven't been as lucky enough to say this for like a long time, but like I like all of my jobs right now.
Oh, good.
I have multiple jobs, but I
does.
like all of them.
Yes.
And that was a far cry from like 6 or 7 years ago. So
Yes, that's true. That's true. Wow. We've known each other that long.
Oh, I think we have.
Yeah, yeah.
Woo.
Because we knew each other before I moved in this building. even.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
because I remember you were working out of your apartment for a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first got off the road. So, yeah. Wow. Look at us.
Wow.
And yeah, so Beltane, again, also, be grateful to your mother, you
Yeah.
know, because she brought you into this life. Without her, you wouldn't be here. Even if you don't like your mom, because I know not everybody likes their moms, and moms are not perfect.
No.
They're human beings. It's not whether you fucked up your kid, it's how bad you fucked up your kid.
But it's also, they did the best they could with what they had at the time.
Yes.
And
yes.
maybe they've learned differently, maybe they haven't. But they did the best they could.
Yeah. And the more people that love your kids, the better the world is.
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes a village to raise a child. It also takes a village to maintain an adult.
It's true. It's very true.
Yeah. So keep the village mentality alive.
Yeah.
Right?
Whole span of things.
Yes.
Doesn't stop when you're a kid.
No, it does not. It's always good to have support. It's always good to have people that will cheer you on. It's always good to have people that will tell you what the hell are you doing.
Yeah, always have that person. If you don't have anyone in your circle that's calling you on your shit,
Yeah.
you need a new circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or at least that one person that's
And they
gonna-
say that, always examine your 5, because we're most influenced by the 5 people that are mostly in our life. So one could be your partner, another could be a sibling, another could be a friend, a coworker, whatever it is. Whoever's closest to you, who are your 5? And it's always good to kind of look and say, okay, I need to clean house, or no, I'm good the way I am, or I have a position open. Or
Let's go find a person. I always love the like memes or TikTok videos when you phrase it and they're like, I found this random person and we got chatting and I decided to hang on to them. 'Cause that's basically how friendships worked.
yeah,
You're like, you got chatting and you're like, yeah, I think I'll keep you.
Yeah. But again, too, friendships, regardless of how great they can be, are not always for life.
Nope.
The only relationship you have forever is the one with yourself. Mm-hmm. So, but a lot of people want to, it's great to make new friends, don't get me wrong. But some friends are here for a season. Some are here for a reason. It applies to angels and spirit guides, too.
Yep.
My totem animal is bear, but I've had other spirit animals. I had owl, peacock, spider, snake. I wasn't too thrilled about the spider one. I was like, spider. When my elder told me it was spider at that point, I was like, really? What's the spider got to teach?
I was going to say, okay. I'd be like,
because you always want the cool animals. Why can't it be a cougar?
I remember when I was first learning how to meditate, I would see a jaguar.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, why?
Yeah, maybe
'Cause
that was a spirit animal.
It didn't make sense at the time. It does kind of now, and it has lessened. But I
Right.
think I needed that energy
Okay.
to jumpstart.
Okay.
things.
Yeah, because mine currently, outside of my bear, because bear's with me forever, is wolf. And I really resisted the wolf because I thought, oh, am I just doing that because it's a cool animal? And it's like, no, the wolf came many times to say,
like,
look, Rhonda.
Look, I'm going to stay here till you listen to me.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, I'll let you in. Come on.
Join the fun.
Yeah. It's because it's a pack animal. Because
Okay.
North Americans are really bad for wanting to do lone wolf, especially guys. I'm a lone wolf. Well, the lone wolf, by the way, is the one that's rejected from the pack because it's too sick, too weak. We don't want you. You have nothing to bring to
You're
the
going to
table.
endanger us. That's what that is.
Exactly. So you
I've been
don't
watching my
actually
serial
want to
killer
be. Yeah. You don't actually want to be a lone wolf. It's not a cool thing. So stop making it a cool thing. Wolves are pack animals. And so it's come to teach me how to be a pack animal.
I mean, you definitely have a pack animal mentality now.
I do now. Yeah. No, before I did not.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. I'm talking about 10 years ago. I was very much, it's me and only me and,
Yep.
that sort of thing. And I had a lot of birds for a while, like owls and peacocks. I don't know why, but
I love when you talk about your peacocks.
yeah, the peacocks were fun. I even raised peacocks for a little while. So yeah, they were a lot of fun. They're very loud and they like to sit on the roof and scream at people. It's the best alarm system you can have.
better than roosters. I definitely have been privy to that one.
Oh yeah, roosters, yeah, they're fun. But peacock, oh, that cry, It will
You're like, all right, that's
blow
enough.
your ears out. You're like, whoa! The first time I heard it, I was like, what the hell is that? And then I looked up, and there's the peacock on my farmhouse roof, and it's like,
Going, hello, are you listening to me yet?
but one of them got killed. How did I not hear it? Like, you'd think they would put up the alarm for themselves.
I don't know, but that makes me very sad.
I know. But one's still alive. He's at Sandy Acres.
Oh.
Sandy Pines.
Sandy Pines.
I don't know why I said acres.
Because there's something acres, and that probably got twisted in your brain with Sandy Pines.
That's true.
Also,
that's
Sandy
true.
Pines does very good work. Our kiddos watched something recently on their like virtual tour, so it was really cool to kind of see what they do.
Nice. Yeah, they're a great organization doing a lot of good for nature and Mother Earth and all that kind of stuff. If I won the lottery, I would definitely start a sanctuary.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. Because I'm at a point where, like, when I had the farm, I raised turkeys and chickens and peacocks and everything. And I ate the turkeys and the chickens and stuff. I don't know if I could do it these days. Because I grew, like, when I gave up, when we were moving, I still had a turkey, a rooster, and a hen. And some guy said he would take them. And I made him promise that he wouldn't eat them.
It's probably like, this lady is crazy.
Yeah, probably. And I thought, well, even if he does, they're so old because I'd raised them for a while that they would be tough meat. So
He's like, trick's on you.
because the turkey was a male turkey and he would follow the rooster around. Oh my God. It was hilarious. Him and the rooster, according to the turkey, were best friends.
Meanwhile, the rooster's like, no, man, not me.
Yeah, he's totally like, this guy keeps following me.
Oh my God, that makes me like, I gotta try and find it. If I find it, I'll send it to you. But it's like, it's a goat. And the goat has pool noodles on his horn because
he keeps butting things? Yeah.
But the horse is afraid of the goat, and the goat just wants to say hi.
Oh.
So the goat's just like, come back. I just want to say hi to you. And the horse is like, what the frick are
Get
you?
away from me.
Yeah. And I like, every time I see it, I try and share it because I'm like, this is hilarious.
Oh
This
my
would-
God,
this-
that's too funny.
So that's what made me think of when your turkey, your chicken were talking.
Yeah. Yeah, the turkey loved the rooster. He's like, yeah, we're best friends, right, bud?
And all the rooster's like, no, man.
No, I'm with the hen. I'm not with you. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Fun stuff.
Yeah.
Birds have a lot of personality.
Oh, they totally do.
Yeah. People think they don't, but they do.
And the people who don't know that birds have personality haven't spent enough time around a bird.
Yeah.
I have not spent a lot of time around a bird, and birds definitely have personalities.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yeah. No, I love birds can be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'd totally get like birds if my husband wasn't around.
My husband's like, no.
Yeah.
What's this? Josh refuses to get cats.
Oh,
It might be an allergy thing, and I say might because he
claims to have an allergy.
claims to have an allergy.
Okay. Yeah.
And I can't prove or disprove because if it is an allergy, it'll kill him.
Right.
So I'm not willing to put that up to risk.
Right.
I do love him. he came before the cat.
Yeah, there you go. So, he's practically a cat anyways. He's always on the couch, right?
Yeah, but if I get there first, he's SOL.
Oh, there you go. Oh, dear. So, yeah, Beltane is usually most often celebrated the night before Beltane Eve. And then there's lots of stuff that goes on, especially over in England and stuff, that's still Beltane related, and they even like have a form of mummers going around.
Nice.
And you collect bread or something, I think it is, and you're drumming and singing and all that kind of stuff. They'll drum and sing for just about any holiday, which is great.
I mean, that makes sense. Like, why not?
Yeah.
I feel like we've gotten away from our holidays over here.
Yeah, because we just do Halloween, which is trick or treating for the kids.
Yeah.
But did you ever go caroling when you were a kid at Christmas time?
I think we did it once. I've been in a couple Christmas parades. Like, my parents have worked for organizations that are like, come be a part of our Christmas float. So I was definitely involved in that somehow over the years. But I don't remember like caroling
going to everybody's house and stuff.
I remember we got carolers regularly.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you give them stuff?
It depended on who they were.
Okay.
They got candy canes if they were like teenagers.
Okay.
And then if they were like adults and they could sing, I think there was a little bit of money going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And often if you're collecting money, you're collecting it
For its charity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've been caroling a few times as a kid, and I'm like, they don't have that so much anymore. Like,
No.
you know, the mall might have Victorian carolers that are all just. I was like, oh, that'd be so much fun to do that.
Yeah, just dress them up. You go. We should talk to would Fort Henry be the closest? But they're all guards.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of
Where do you get the Victorian garb?
Well, I know there's a place in New Brunswick because
Okay.
I've visited. It's called King's Landing, ironically enough.
Oh, okay.
And it's a period village essentially.
Oh, it's like Upper Canada Village kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So our guess
I love that place.
Ours would be Upper Canada.
Oh, okay. I've always wanted to go at Christmas time to Upper Canada Village, and like the last thing that Mom and I were planning on doing was going to Upper Canada Village at Christmas time
Nice.
because she loved Christmas too,
Yeah.
and then she died right before we went.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but it took me a few years to say, yep, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
So I've been ready to go for a while, but haven't made it up there yet.
Oh, we should do it.
Yeah, I would love that because they do like the lights and everything,
Yeah.
and I just love the pioneer times. I don't know what
Well,
it is.
yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like it's a simpler time.
Yeah.
Like there was a little bit more. You could focus on one thing, and then like when you had to hunker down for winter, you hunkered down for winter.
Yeah.
And this wasn't like, still make it to work when you have to shovel out your driveway. You just stayed in.
Yeah, because it's funny because I read the Laura Ingalls Wilder series, right?
Yeah.
And of course they're all based on her real life, right? And I loved that series, but one of them, The Long Winter, it's called. So Ma and Pa go off to the town to get supplies or whatever, and it's at winter or near winter, and there's this big snowstorm that happens, and they get snowed in. So Ma and Pa end up having to stay in the village for a little
couple of
while
days,
because it's a ways off, right? So the girls, there's Mary and Laura are the two oldest. They get really scared because they're like they can barely make it out to the animals to feed them and stuff, and they're like, what do we do about the wood and all that kind of stuff? So they start breaking down the furniture. And Mom and Pa go to the furniture all chopped up.
Mom and Pa were probably like, what? Do you realize how long it took me to make?
Because like in those days snow would drift, right?
Yeah, and you would go from something that was like knee high to something that was like
Up to here,
chest high or
because
whatever.
when I moved out to the country, I realized you really think and live the weather when you're like, you don't notice it when you're a city dweller. You can run from the door here of the office building to your car in shoes in the midwinter
And it'd
if
be
you
fine.
need to.
Yeah.
But out there, like getting sometimes to the chicken house, I would have to shovel my way out to them, feed them, and then by the time I turned around,
You have to shovel your way back.
you didn't even know I had shoveled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember my grandmother doing that with the horses one winter. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And when you've got big open fields and stuff like that, it does drift a lot more. So you feel the snow a lot more. Because I remember too, one time I went for one of my chemo treatments, and a friend of mine, she would drive me in and drive me back out. And it seemed like they never knew what my reaction was going to be. So this one was I had gotten really weak.
Oh no.
So it was winter and it was very snowy, very deep. Catherine came out to help my friend, and they're literally dragging me through the snow.
Oh my goodness.
Because I couldn't even stand up. I was just like, no, just leave me here. I don't care.
And Catherine's like, nope, not leaving you, Mom.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. Yep.
So they each had an arm, and they're yeah. It was fun.
I'm glad you can laugh about it now.
Yeah, I can. I'm still here, so you can't kill a weed. We keep popping back up.
We're resilient, that's for sure.
That's right. Oh dear. Anything else we have to say?
No, I
or
don't
we
think
pretty
so.
much-
I think
we've talked about everything else.
But yeah, we talked a little bit about Beltane and everything else in between.
Yeah. But if you have any questions about tarot, please put them in the comments. Say you're here in the comments too, because the comments help to let us see who's watching, and YouTube just did a new thing. I can actually see who's subscribed now too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I haven't looked yet, but I was like, oh, I can see my own, because you couldn't before.
That doesn't make sense.
I know, it sounds really weird, right? Like, why would you keep that secret from the person that owns the channel?
Like, why would you not want to know? Because if you can figure out who's subscribed to you,
Then you can subscribe back, or you
yeah,
can
kind of mutual,
yeah,
beneficial agreement or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. So I got to go through the list and see who's subscribed. and,
Yeah.
you know, return the favor.
Well, hit the fairy bell.
Yep, hit the fairy bell, subscribe, like, comment, share, all those things. If you're looking for us, you can find us on Facebook for sure, and Instagram.
Definitely Instagram.
Yeah, so just type in Goddess Garage, you'll find us. And yeah, there you go. That's it. Happy Beltane.
Happy Beltane.
Bye.
Oh, nope.
Nope. There, she's got it now.
It eluded me today.